dass der Sabbat bald anfangen wird.
And we invite now your presence to be amongst us.
Und wir laden deine Gegenwart ein, um unter uns zu sein.
Please unburden our minds and hearts now from all the worldly cares and sorrows.
Bitte nehmen alle Lasten von unserem Gedanken, alle weltlichen Sorgen von uns weg.
And please help us now to focus upon heavenly things.
Und hilft uns jetzt, dass wir fokussieren werden auf himmlischen Dingen.
And that we can better understand your plan of salvation.
Und dass wir besser deinen Erlösungsplan verstehen können.
So please teach us now and revive us.
So bitte lehre uns und erwecke uns
And forgive us our sins.
und vergebt uns unsere Sünden.
And we ask and pray these things in Jesus' name.
Und wir bitten und beten diese Dinge in Jesu Namen.
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so the last 3 studies,
Also die letzten 3 Studien, die wir gehabt haben.
we looked at the story of Esther.
Wir haben die Geschichte von Esther angeschaut.
And I thought maybe this evening we can just finish off with these thoughts on the book of Esther.
Und ich habe gedacht, dass heute Abend können wir diese Gedanken über Esther zu Ende bringen.
I mean, it doesn't mean that we will go through the whole book of Esther, because this would not be possible.
Das heißt nicht, dass wir jetzt durch das gesamte Buch Esther hindurchgehen, das wäre in dieser Zeit nicht möglich.
We will try to go through Esther 3 and 4.
Aber wir werden versuchen, durch die Kapitel Esther 3 und 4 hindurchzukommen.
Okay, so let us read chapter 3 once more.
So lasst uns Kapitel 3 ein weiteres Mal lesen.
I would suggest let's read 3 verses each.
Und ich schlage vor, dass wir jeweils 3 Versen lesen.
And Brother Mark, can you start with the first 3 verses, please?
Chapter 4, ja.
Chapter 3.
In Kapitel 3 fangen wir an.
After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did in reverence. Then the king's servant, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, Why transgressest thou the king's commandment?
Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman, to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
The first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast word, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, There is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people, neither keep they the king's laws, therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business, to bring it into the king's treasuries.
And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of Hammedatha the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. And the king said unto Haman, The silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemeth good to thee. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people, and to the province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language. In the name of King Ahasuerus was it written, and sealed with the king's ring.
And the letters were sent by posts into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they should be ready against that day. The posts went out, being hastened by the king's commandment, and the decree was given in Shushan the palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city Shushan was perplexed.
Yes, okay, thank you. So, yesterday we looked already at the first 6 verses, right?
So, gestern haben wir bereits die ersten 6 Verse angeschaut.
Okay, so of those who were present yesterday,
Also von denjenigen, die gestern vorhanden hier waren,
can you please explain to those that were not present these first 6 verses?
bitte erkläre für diejenigen, die nicht so anwesend waren, diese ersten 6 Verse.
So when we maybe start in verse 1,
So, wir fangen jetzt hier Vers 1 an.
what does it mean that now Haman got promoted and set over all the other princes?
So, was heißt das, dass Haman befördert würde und über all die anderen Prinzen gesetzt würde?
Great tree being lifted up above all the nations.
Yes, okay.
So ein großer Baum, der über alle Nationen gesetzt wird.
So who is Haman
So,
in this
wer war Haman in dieser
Or
Darstellung?
who is Ahasuerus maybe first?
Oder zuerst besser, wer ist Ahasuerus?
Er stellt Christus.
Yes, he represents Christ, right?
Er stellt Christus dar.
And why?
Und warum? Christ itself.
Yes, for instance, he married Esther, right?
Weil er hat Esther geheiratet.
And Esther is a virgin in the story, right?
Esther in dieser Geschichte ist eine Jungfrau
And he represents God's church.
und sie stellt den Gottesgemeinde dar.
Okay, so therefore Ahasuerus is Christ and he promotes now Haman.
So, Ahasuerus ist Christus und er befördert den Haman.
And who is Haman?
Und wer ist Haman?
Yes, United States. And why?
USA. Und wieso?
He's got 10 sons. He's married to Zeresh, who tells him what to do. And also,
Yes.
he's the one that gets lifted up to put the decree in place.
Also er hat 10 Söhne. Er ist zu den Seresh verheiratet und der ist derjenige, der befördert würde oder erhöht werde. What was the last sentence you said?
The United States is the one that makes the decree.
Ah ja, den USA ist diejenigen, der das Dekret, also das Sonntagsgesetz oder Todesdekret macht.
Okay, so maybe somebody else can explain to me why is, for instance, this understanding of the 10 sons a proof that this is the United States?
So vielleicht kann jemand anderem mich erklären, warum der Tatsache, dass diese 10 Söhne ein Beweis ist, dass Haman den USA darstellt.
What other illustration do we have?
Was für eine weitere Darstellung haben wir?
Ahab also had 20 sons.
Yes, exactly.
Ahab, der hatte auch 10 Söhne.
So I don't place this now on the line, I just write it down here.
Also das ist jetzt nicht auf die Linie markiert, sondern das ist nur hier niedergeschrieben.
Okay, so you had Ahab, right?
Also es gab Ahab
And he was the king over how many?
und der war
Tribes?
der König
10.
über wie viele Stämme?
Over 10 tribes, right?
10 Stämme.
And he was married to whom?
Er war mit wem verheiratet?
Jezebel, right?
Isabel.
So Jezebel. And who was basically his right arm?
Und wer war seine rechte Hand oder seine rechte Arm?
Yes, yes, exactly. The false prophets, right?
Die Baalspropheten.
The prophets of Baal, right? So, and therefore, who's Jezebel in the Bible?
So in der Bibel, wer ist Isabel?
Papacy, right?
Papsttum.
How do we know this?
Woher wissen wir das?
Fourth church, right?
Also falsche Gemeinde.
Fourth.
Also der 4. Gemeinde.
Just keep your finger here in Esther. Let's go quickly to Revelation chapter 2.
Also haltet den Platz hier und geht zum Offenbarung Kapitel 2.
And it speaks about now the church of Thyatira, right?
Er spricht hier über die Gemeinde von Thyatira,
When we read verse 18 down to verse 20.
die Verse 18 bis 20.
Okay. So 18 down to verse 20.
Die Verse 18 bis 20.
And it says, and unto the angel of the church in Thyatira write, These things saith the Son of God, who hath his eyes like unto a flame of fire, and his feet are like fine brass. I know thy works, and charity, and service, and faith, and thy patience, and thy works, and the last be more than the first. Notwithstanding, I have a few things against thee, because thou sufferest that woman Jezebel. So here we have Jezebel,
So hier erwähnt es Isabel,
which calleth herself a prophetess, to teach and seduce my servants to commit fornication and to eat things sacrificed unto idols. So
bis Vers 20.
why is this now suddenly the papacy?
So, warum ist das jetzt plötzlich der Papst?
Why is Jezebel here the papacy?
Warum ist Isabel hier der Papst?
False teachings.
Okay, yes.
Because of the history of the church.
Because the great whore
Yes, it's
causes fornication.
this historical application of the churches, right?
Diese historische Anwendung der Gemeinden ist hier erwähnt.
And basically this Thyatira church represents this 1260, right?
Und diese Thyatira, diese Gemeinde, stellt der 1260 dar.
So during this 1260 you had Jezebel, and Jezebel was a character in the Old Testament, right?
Und während dieser 1260 hat man Isabel. Und Isabel war ein Charakter im Alten Testament.
Okay, go to I think it's 2 Kings or Chronicles chapter 9. Let's quickly go there.
Zum zweiten Könige, oder vielleicht möglicherweise zweiten Chronik.
No, 2 Kings chapter 9
Zweite Könige, Kapitel 9,
and then verse 22.
Vers 22.
Speaks now about Jezebel back then in the history. Okay,
Spricht über Isabel damals in der Geschichte,
under the time of Elijah.
zur Zeit von Elia.
Okay, let's read verse 22.
Vers 22.
It says, And it came to pass, when Joram saw Jehu, that he said, Is it peace, Jehu? And he answered, What peace, so long as the whoredoms of thy mother Jezebel and her witchcrafts are so many. So, what is Jezebel?
So, was ist Isabel?
She's a whore and she's the one that does witchcrafts.
Yes, exactly.
Also,
Right?
es ist eine Hörerin, eine der Hexerei
Betreibt.
tut.
Yes. So, and who is it at the end of the world who is this great whore that does all these witchcrafts?
Und wer ist es am Ende der Welt, der diese große Hure ist, der all diese Hexerei tut?
Yes, let's go to Revelation 17.
Das ist der Papsttum. Offenbarung 17.
Yes, exactly. Because she was also a mother, right? Because it says in verse 22, thy mother, right?
Sie war auch eine Mutter, weil hier, die wir eben gelesen haben, es sagt, deine Mutter.
Okay, so let's go to Revelation 17, verse 5.
Offenbarung 17 und Vers 5.
And that's now this woman riding this beast.
Das ist diese Frau, die diese Tier reitet.
It says, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon, the great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Okay, so here we see the papacy is the mother and she's a harlot.
So hier können wir sehen, dass der Papst eine Mutter ist und aber auch eine Hure.
And when you now go to Revelation 18,
Und jetzt zur Offenbarung 18,
because Jezebel also did witchcraft, right?
denn Isabel hat auch Hexerei betätigt.
Okay, let's go to Revelation 18
Offenbarung 18
and let's read verse 23,
und Vers 23.
because it's still speaking about the same entity here.
Dann es spricht hier weiterhin über derselbe Entität wie in Offenbarung 17.
It says, and the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. Okay, so what did she do?
Was hat sie getan?
sorcery, right?
Also dieses Wort Sorcery ist dasselbe wie Hexerei.
And also the book of Nahum.
Sorcery is witchcraft, right?
The book of Nahum, it calls her the mistress of witchcraft.
Yes, exactly.
Das Buch Nahum, sie ist der Dienerin der Hexerei.
Let's go there then.
Also Buch Nahum,
It's Nahum chapter 1, right? Is it?
das ist Nahum Kapitel 1.
Sorry?
3 verse 3.
Okay, chapter 3, verse 4.
Kapitel 3 und Vers 4.
Yes. And also a harlot, she's called here, right? So Nahum chapter 3, verse 4.
Nahum Kapitel 3 Vers 4.
And Nahum is just before Habakkuk
Nahum befindet sich gerade vor Habakkuk,
and just after Micah.
gerade nach Micha.
Okay, it says, you want to read it?
Yes, it says, because of the multitude of the whoredoms of the well-favoured harlot, the mistress of witchcrafts that selleth nations, through her whoredoms and families through her witchcrafts.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so here we can see this harlot and this mistress of witchcraft.
So hier können wir sehen, diese Hure und diese Dienerin der Hexerei.
So Ahab, he was king over 10,
So Ahab war König über 10.
and who is the 10 nations here at the end, or the 10 kings?
Und wer sind die 10 Nationen hier am Ende der Welt oder die 10 Könige? The whole world.
Yes, it's the whole world,
Das ist die
right?
gesamte Welt.
And who is the state power that rules over the 10 kings?
Und wer ist der Staatsmacht, die über die 10 Könige herrscht?
Because Ahab was a king, right?
Denn Ahab war selbst eine König.
Yes, so he's the United States,
So Ahab stellt der USA dar.
but how many horns does the United States have?
Aber wie viele Hörner hat denn USA? 2.
2 horns, right?
2 Hörner.
And what are the 2 horns?
Und was sind sie? Diese 2 Hörner?
Yeah, Protestantism, Republicanism, right?
Protestantismus und Republikanismus.
So this would be Republicanism.
Das wäre denn der
Republikanismus.
genau. Das wäre denn der Republikanismus.
Okay, and the false prophets here are then the false Protestants.
Diese falsche Propheten hier, diese Propheten von Baal, wäre denn den falschen Propheten.
And the state power is married to Jezebel, which is the papacy.
Und der Staatsmacht ist verheiratet mit Isabel, welches der Papst ist.
Okay, so therefore, in this story of Esther,
So in der Geschichte von Esther,
we have Haman being the father of the 10.
so
Right?
in der Geschichte von Esther, wir haben Haman, der Vater von den 10 ist.
He has 10 sons,
Er hat 10 Söhne,
but he's married to whom in the story of Esther?
aber in der Geschichte von Esther, mit wem ist er verheiratet?
Let's go quickly back to the book of Esther.
Schnell zurück zum Buch Esther.
And let's go to chapter 5, verse 14.
Von Kapitel 5 und Vers 14.
Or maybe let's read verse 13, then we have a little bit more the context.
Und die Verse 13 und 14, um Kontext zu verschaffen.
Okay, and who was the last one who read?
Wer hat zuletzt gelesen? David.
Okay, Daniel, you want to read this for us, please? Verse 13 and 14.
Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the gate. Then said Zeresh his wife and all his friends unto him, Let the gallows be made 50 cubits high, and a moral speak thou unto the king, that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet. And the thing pleased Haman, and caused the gallows to be made.
Yes, okay. So, who is his wife?
So, wer ist seine Frau?
What does it say?
Was
Zeresh.
sagt es? Zeresh.
Okay, so you have Haman,
Du hast Haman,
and he's married to Zeresh.
und er ist mit den Zeresh verheiratet. SH.
Okay, and what is his wife telling him to do with Mordecai?
Und was sagt seine Frau, was er mit den Mordecai tun soll?
Making the son of
Kill them.
And basically kill him.
Also
Right?
tötet ihn.
Put him on these gallows.
Also hängt ihn auf diesen Gerüst,
Galgen.
Galgen. Genau.
Okay, so it's the same. What did Jezebel tell basically Ahab to do?
So, was hat den Isabel den Ahab gesagt, was er tun soll?
Same as Herodias told Herod to do.
Yes.
Dasselbe, was Herodias den Herodos gesagt hat, dass er tun soll.
Yes. Yeah, to kill God's people,
Um
right?
Gottes Volk zu töten.
So we have basically the same illustration here.
So, dasselbe Darstellung sehen wir hier.
Okay, so Haman represents the United States,
So, Haman stellt den USA dar.
and in Esther chapter 3,
Und in Esther Kapitel 3
he gets promoted and lifted up over all other princes.
er ist befördert worden und über alle anderen Prinzen gestellt.
And what is everybody to do now when he gets lifted up?
Und was soll jeder tun, wenn er erhöht wird?
Let's read chapter 3, verse 2 again.
Kapitel 3, Vers 2.
And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. So what did everybody do now when the United States gets lifted up?
So, was tat jeder, als den USA erhöht würde?
Everybody bows down.
Jeder
Right?
beugt sich.
So, but Mordecai, he's faithful, he doesn't bow down.
Aber Mordecai, der ist treu und der beugt sich nicht.
So, and where's the parallel story again to this?
Und wo ist der Parallelgeschichte hierzu?
Daniel chapter 3,
Also
right?
Daniel Kapitel 3.
So Daniel chapter 3, we have the golden image being set up,
So Daniel Kapitel 3 gibt es diese goldene Standbild, der aufgerichtet wird.
and Sister White lets us know it's the Sunday law, right?
Und Ellen White, sie sagt uns, dass das Sonntagsgesetz darstellt.
So therefore Haman, when he gets promoted, it's right here, also at the Sunday law.
So als Haman befördert würde, wir können das gerade hier am Sonntagsgesetz markieren.
So Haman promoted.
So Haman wird hier befördert.
And everybody needs to bow down just like before the golden statue.
Und jeder hier muss vor den Haman niederbeugen, genauso wie in Daniel 3 vor dem goldenen Standbild.
Okay. And we know that Mordecai didn't do it, and like the three friends, Daniel's three friends, they also didn't do it.
Und wir wissen, dass Mordecai das nicht tat. Er hat sich nicht niedergebeugt. Genauso wie Daniels 3 Freunde, die haben es auch nicht getan.
But what did then the king's servants do to
Aber
Mordecai?
was taten denn die Diener des Königs?
Okay.
Die lieferten ihn aus.
Yes, they delivered Mordecai up, but before they did it, what did they do to him?
Aber die haben ihn ausgeliefert, aber noch davor, was haben sie ihm angetan?
Let's read verse 4.
Vers 4.
It says, let's read 3 and 4.
Die Verse 3 und 4.
Then the king's servants which were in the king's gate said unto Mordecai, Why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand. For he had told them that he was a Jew. So, what did they do?
So was taten die?
Yes, they spoke daily to him,
Die
right?
haben täglich mit ihm gesprochen.
And asked him what?
Und hat ihm was befragt?
Why don't you bow down? Right?
Warum beugst du nicht nieder?
So in this sense, when the Sunday law will come, they will daily, in a sense, they will continually, in a sense, how we say it?
Oppose their paganistic ideas.
Yes, they continually want to push these things upon us. Yes.
Also wenn der Sonntagsgesetz kommt, dann werden wir sehen, dass die werden beständig und täglich diese Dinge uns aufdrängen.
Yeah.
Make the music.
Sorry?
Make the music in there.
Also das,
Yes, in Daniel 3 they made the music.
also in Daniel Kapitel 3, die machen Musik.
And the music is just a symbol for this deception, right? that they
Das
do.
Musik ist ein Symbol für diese Verführung.
Okay, so if we would look at this illustration, right?
So, wenn wir diese Linie anschauen würden,
We have in Daniel chapter 8, the question asks, how long what?
So, in Daniel Kapitel 8 ist die Frage gestellt, wie lange? Wie lange was?
Daily.
Yes.
Wie lange wird das tägliche und der Groll der Verwüstung Gottes Volk unterdrücken?
So you have the daily
Das tägliche
and the transgression of desolation.
Also das tägliche und der Groll der Verwüstung.
Übertretung der Verwüstung.
Übertretung der Verwüstung.
Yes. Okay, so
So ein bisschen können.
abomination of desolation and transgression of desolation. Two different things. But it's the same power.
Das war-
Yes.
yes.
Okay, so here in this time, this is the time of the daily.
So in diese Zeit, das ist der Zeit des Tägliches.
Yeah. And this is where they will come and daily convince you to bow down to this image.
Und in diese Zeit werden die täglich zu dir kommen und versuchen dir zu überreden oder zu zwingen, diesen Standbild niederzubeugen,
To bow down before Haman.
um vor Haman niederzubeugen.
Yeah, but if you reject this, like Mordecai did,
Aber wenn du das ablehnst, genauso wie Mordecai es ablehnte,
or like the three friends,
oder auch wie die 3 Freunden Daniels,
or like Joseph when Potiphar's wife came to him daily, right?
oder auch Josef, als die Frau von Potiphar versuchte ihm täglich,
Yeah. What happens then with you here?
was geschieht denn mit dir hier?
Put into prison or
Yeah, you're delivered up, right?
Also du wirst ausgeliefert.
Okay, so now they want to really punish you.
So, jetzt werden die dir bestrafen wollen.
Okay, so and this is what happened here, right? In verse 4, it says that they then told Haman.
In Vers 4 steht hier, das ist das, was geschehen ist, dass die Haman es erklärte.
And what is the reaction of Haman?
Und wie reagiert Haman darauf?
Verse 5.
Vers 5.
And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then Haman was full of wrath. Okay, so Haman is what?
So Haman ist was?
Full of wrath, right?
Voll des Zornes.
Okay, so let's just keep your finger here. Let's go to Daniel 3.
So halte den Platz hier und wir gehen zum Daniel 3.
And let's read the verses 12 to 13.
Verse 12 und 13 lesen wir.
Daniel 3, verse 12 to 13.
Daniel 3, Verse 12 bis 13.
It's now the same point where they now deliver up the 3 Hebrew friends.
Das ist derselbe Punkt, aber hier, wo die 3 hebräische Freunde ausliefern.
Okay, Nenad,
Nur 12 oder?
12 und 13.
12 und 13.
There are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar is his rage and fury commanded to bring Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so here we can see Nebuchadnezzar was full of
So, hier können wir sehen, dass der Nebukadnezar voll was war?
full of wrath, of
Voll
fury,
Zorns.
right? So the same point, he's basically Haman here.
Also derselbe Punkt. Also in dem Sinne wäre er hier Haman.
And now, what happened to the 3 friends?
Und was geschah mit den 3 Freunden in dieser Geschichte?
They now come face to face with death,
Die
right?
kommen vor dem Angesicht des Todes an.
Okay, so, and this is now the second test of Job, right?
Und das wäre gleich der zweite Test Hiobs.
Because at the midnight crisis, the White says, when the crisis comes, you come face to face with death,
Denn
right?
Ellen White sagt uns, zur Mitternachtsruf, wenn der Krise kommt, kommst du vor dem Angesicht des Todes.
Okay, so let's go back to Esther chapter 3,
Zurück zu Esther Kapitel 3
and let's read verse 6.
und Vers 6.
Because Haman was full of wrath, which is then also here the same point like Nebuchadnezzar being full of wrath.
Denn Haman war auch voll des Zornes und das ist genau derselbe Punkt hier, wo Nebukadnezar voll des Zornes war.
And let's read verse 6.
Vers 6 jetzt.
And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. So what is Haman now doing?
So was tut den Haman hier?
Yes, he wants to kill now also all Jews,
Er
right?
möchte alle Juden töten.
So now the Jews also come face to face with death.
So jetzt kommen auch all die Juden vor dem Angesicht des Todes.
So there's the same illustration. Right?
Selbe Darstellung.
Okay. So everybody can follow?
Kann jeder folgen?
Okay. So then when we continue from verse 7 onward,
Und wenn wir von Vers 7 und weiterlesen,
now then basically what is he doing now in verse 7?
Vers 7, was tut er?
It says, in the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of the king Ahasuerus, they cast pur, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day and from month to month to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. So what are they doing?
So was tun die?
Casting lots.
Die werfen das Los.
Okay, where else do we cast lots?
Wo sonst wird das losgeworfen? Leviticus 16.
Yes, let's go to Leviticus, keep your finger here, let's go to Leviticus 16.
So, halte den Platz hier und wir gehen zum 3. Buch Mose 16.
And Leviticus 16 speaks about the Day of Atonement.
Und hier im 3. Buch Mose 16 spricht über der Versöhnungstag.
Okay. In the Day of Atonement, what does it typify in our time?
Und das Versöhnungstag, was schattet das in unsere Zeit voraus?
Yes, the judgment of the living.
Das
Right?
Gericht an den Lebendigen.
And where does the judgment of the living start on our line?
Und auf unserer Linie, wo fängt das Gericht an den Lebendigen an?
The midnight cry. Right?
Mitternachtsspruch.
Okay. So here, IJL for investigative judgment of the living.
So IJL für Untersuchungsgericht an den Lebendigen.
So let's read now.
So, lass uns lesen.
Let's read verse 5 down to verse 8.
Die Verse 5 bis 8.
It says, and he shall take of the congregation of the children of Israel 2 kids of the goats for a sin offering, and 1 ram for a burnt offering. So how many goats is he to pick?
So, wie viele Ziegen soll er wählen?
2 goats, right?
2.
So, and 1 is the scapegoat and 1 is the sin offering.
Und einer ist der Sündenbock und der andere ist der Söhne für Sünde.
Therefore, what do these represent here?
So, was stellen die hier dar?
These 2 goats.
Diese 2 Ziegen.
Yes,
Die 2 Klassen.
the wise and the foolish, right?
Also die Törichten und den Klugen.
Okay, and at the midnight cry, what happens with the wise and the foolish?
Mitternachtsruf, was geschieht mit den Klugen und den Törichten?
Yes, they get manifest their character, right?
Also die manifestieren deren Charakter.
Okay, so let's continue.
Lass uns weiter.
And Aaron shall offer his bullock of the sin offering, which is for himself, and make an atonement for himself and for his house. And he shall take the 2 goats and present them before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, 1 lot for the Lord and the other lot for the scapegoat. So here we can see what is Aaron to do?
So, was soll denn Aaron tun?
He casts lots,
Er soll
right?
das loswerfen.
So therefore we have, just write it down here now.
So, ich schreibe das hier.
So cast lots.
Das Werfen des Loses.
And what did Haman do here when he wants to kill the Jews?
Und was tat Haman hier, als er die Juden ermorden wollte?
He cast lots.
Er hat das losgeworfen.
So same illustration.
Dasselbe Darstellung.
Yes, everybody can follow?
Kann jeder folgen?
Okay. So let's go back to Esther chapter 3.
Lass uns zurück zu Esther Kapitel 3 gehen.
And the next verses, he basically wants to now get the permission of the king, right, to kill now the Jews.
Und in den nächsten Versen er sucht den Zustimmigkeit des Königs, um den Juden zu ermorden.
Okay, and And then it says here that they pass now this death decree.
Und es sagt hier, dass diese Todesdekret erlassen.
Okay, let's read verse 12.
Vers 12.
It says, Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all that Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants, and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after the language. In the name of the king Ahasuerus was it written and sealed with the king's ring. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoil of them for a prey. Okay, so here we see now this death decree goes forth. Right?
Hier können wir sehen, dieses Todesdekret geht hier voran.
And what is the result of this?
Und was ist der Resultat?
Let's read verse 15.
Vers 15 lesen wir.
The posts went out, being hastened by the king's commandment, and the decree was given in Shushan the palace. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city Shushan was perplexed. Okay, what happened with the city Shushan?
Was geschah mit der Stadt Shushan?
Yes, perplexity.
Also es war in Erstaunen.
Okay, what other story gives us this perplexity here at the midnight cry?
So, welche weitere Geschichte gibt uns dieses Erstaunen hier an der Mitternachtsruf?
Okay,
So, Lukas 21, die Erschütterung vom Himmel und Erde.
that's correct. But before we go there,
Also das ist richtig, aber noch bevor wir da hingehen,
what is another story that is even easier to see?
dann eine weitere Geschichte, die noch einfacher ist zu sehen.
I think you're referring
Yeah, the chasm, right?
Also der Kluft.
Because we understand right here you come to the chasm, right?
Denn wir verstehen, dass gerade hier kommt man zum Kluft an.
And when you come to the chasm, you're cast into a time of perplexity and distress, right?
Und wenn du zur Kluft ankommst, du wirst in eine Zeit von Drangsal und Verwirrung verworfen.
So here perplexity plus distress. Okay, now we can go to Luke 21.
So, jetzt können wir zu Lukas
Keep your finger
21.
here in Esther.
So, wir halten den Platz hier in das Buch Esther.
And we come now also to our closing thoughts for this evening.
Heute, das sind unsere schließenden Gedanken,
Luke 21.
Lukas 21.
And let's read verse 25.
Und Vers 25.
It says, And there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. So sun, moon and stars is what?
So, Sonne, Mond und Sterne sind was?
The powers of the heavens, right?
Sind die Mächte des Himmels.
So the heavens get shaken now.
So, die Himmel wird erschüttert.
And we understand this first phase is what?
Wir verstehen, dass diese erste Phase ist was?
In terms of the shakings?
Shaking of the earth.
Shaking of the earth,
Das ist die
right?
Erschütterung der Erde alleine.
But here is the shaking of the heavens and the earth.
Aber
right?
hier ist es der Erschütterung der Himmel und der Erde.
So let's read now on.
Weiterlesen.
So it's signs in sun, moon and stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring. So what do we have?
Also was haben wir hier?
Distress and perplexity.
Also Drangsal und Verwirrung.
Okay, so right, exactly what also the chasm vision marks here.
So, genau das, was diese Vision von der Kluft markiert.
Both things. Okay.
Diese beiden Dinge.
And the city of Shushan was perplexed.
Und der Staat von Shushan würde auch verwirrt, also in dem Sinne astonished eher.
Ja, also ratlos. Ne?
Ratlos eher als,
Yes.
ja, genau.
Okay, so I hope that it was not perplexing for you guys.
Und ich hoffe nicht, dass das euch in Ratlosigkeit gebracht hat.
Okay, so do you see all the same illustrations?
So können wir die Verbindungen, all denselben Darstellungen sehen.
Yes? Okay, good. So then let's come to our closing thought.
Dann unsere schließende Gedanke.
Let's go back to Esther.
Lasst uns zurück zu Esther.
Because in Esther chapter 3 verse 15,
Denn in Esther 3, Vers 15,
yeah, we had this perplexity marked here, right?
wir hatten diese Ratlosigkeit hier
Here
markiert.
at the midnight cry when the death decree went forth.
So hier an der Mitternachtsruf, als der Todesdekret ging voran.
And now let's read chapter 4 verse 1.
Dann lass uns Kapitel 4, Vers 1 lesen.
It says, when Mordecai perceived all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes and put on sackcloth with ashes, and went out into the midst of the city and cried with a loud and bitter cry. So, what is Mordecai now doing?
So, was tut der Mordecai?
Yeah, we can say the loud cry, but in this illustration, what cry would it be?
Du kannst schon der lautes Ruf sagen, aber in dieser Darstellung, was wäre es?
Would be a midnight cry,
Oder
right?
der Mitternachtsruf
Because
sein.
the loud and bitter cry.
Das ist ein lautes und bitteres Ruf.
And therefore we have this bitterness marked here at the midnight cry.
So, hier haben wir diese Bitterkeit hier an der Mitternachtsruf markiert.
And what is he putting on himself?
Und was zieht er an?
Sackcloth and ashes, right?
Sacktuch und Asche.
So, and what is it an illustration of?
Was stellt das dar?
Yes, mourning, weeping, humbling yourself, right?
Also wehklagen und heulen, dich demütigen.
And on the day of atonement, here in the investigation judgment, what were you to do?
Und an der Versöhnungstag hier zur Untersuchungsgericht an Lebendigen, was sollst du tun?
Same thing, right?
Also du sollst dasselbe tun.
And you have to humble yourself and mourn and weep over your sins.
Du musst dich demütigen, du musst wehklagen und heulen über deine Sünde.
So basically you can see, line upon line, it's the same stories over and over again.
So wir können sehen, Linie auf Linie, dass es dieselbe Geschichten wieder und wieder sind.
Okay. So, and therefore it shows us that this is then this time of mourning and weeping and humbling ourselves before the Lord.
Das zeigt uns, dass das diese Zeit ist von Wehklagen und Heulen und sich vor dem Herrn demütigen.
Okay, so I think this is enough for this evening,
Ich glaube, das für heute Abend ist genug.
because Friday evenings are always the evenings where everybody is very tired and worn out.
Denn Freitagabend ist normalerweise der Abend, wo die meisten Menschen sehr müde sind und ausgebrannt sind.
Okay, but soon we will enter into our rest.
Aber bald werden wir in unsere Ruhe einkehren.
This Sabbath is soon to begin,
Der Sabbat soll bald anfangen.
and let's keep in mind also that we should, before the Sabbath starts,
Und wir wollen bedenken, dass noch bevor der Sabbat anfängt,
that we once more go into prayer and search our own hearts
dass wir ein weiteres Mal im Gebet gehen und unserem eigenen Herzen durchforschen,
and look if there's any evil thought against anybody,
um zu sehen, ob es irgendetwas Böses, die wir gegeneinander hegen.
and before the Sabbath starts, to put it away.
Und noch bevor der Sabbat beginnt, dass wir das ins Rechte bringen.
Confess before the Lord and confess to your brother or sister if you have anything evil.
So vor dem Herrn bekennen und auch vor deinem Bruder oder Schwester, wenn es irgendetwas da gibt.
Okay. All right?
Amen.
Okay, then let's close with our prayer.